Happy Monday, Steelers Nation. Today on Steelers Talk, we got a bunch of great stuff to talk about right here on the show. First up, Bill Belichick and Dan Orlovsky talk about the Steelers quarterback competition, and they have differing opinions as to who should be the starting quarterback week one for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll get into that first up on today's show. Then we'll get into whether or not the Pittsburgh Steelers should consider benching Broderick Jones after a really tough start to his preseason to this point. And then we'll finish up today's show with a Jaylen Warren injury update you guys are not going to want to miss. So make sure you guys stick around to the end of today's show. And before we get into the content today, we do have a little bit of an announcement. We are going to be moving our Steelers Talk live show start time starting on Wednesday, our next live show. Usually we go live at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. We're actually moving our start time an hour backwards now because we've had so many people reach out to us saying, I'm at work, I'm at school, whatever the case may be. I'm not able to make the live shows. Can you guys make it a little bit later? So that's what we're going to do here. 5:30 p.m. Eastern time is going to be the new start time for Steelers Talk Lives during the week. And our live schedule this week, 5:30 p.m. Eastern, again on Wednesday for our only Steelers Talk live show of the week. Then we have our preseason watch party on Saturday. Of course, it's Saturday afternoon, so we'll be going live 12 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already so you guys never miss any of our live shows. It's absolutely a fantastic time, man. We have a bunch of fun on those shows. It's the bread and butter of this channel right now, so make sure you click those subscribe buttons right now to never miss a moment. So let's get into the good stuff today, man. The QB competition commentary here. We'll start with what ESPN's Dan Orlovsky had to say today on Get Up, where he made the bold statement that he's already convinced Justin Fields is the clear answer for the Pittsburgh Steelers to start week one as their number one starting quarterback against the Atlanta Falcons. This is what Orlovsky had to say. 2 preseason games in and 2 weeks until the season, I think it's obvious that Justin brings more good than bad in comparison to Russ. The Russ that we saw isn't operating this offense. There's a lack of consistency. Now, I think that Dan Orlovsky, personally, in my personal opinion, I disagree with him. I think he's jumping the gun on Russell Wilson. I mean, the offense was behind the 8 ball all the time. Holding penalties, false start penalties. The run game had multiple TFLs, when he was on the field. And, he had drops and he had pressure in his lap. Like, there's a lot of things going wrong about Russell Wilson's game on Saturday. And he was far from perfect, guys. I thought he made some really questionable decisions in terms of which receivers he was targeting on certain concepts. So I certainly agree with Orlovsky on that part of it. But he only had 10 pass attempts and he took 3 sacks within the first 4 seconds of his drop back. That is not a environment where somebody has a legitimate chance to show what they can do, in my opinion. And Mike Tomlin seems to agree with me here in his post-game press conference. This is what he had to say. It's somewhat of an incomplete study because you just don't get a chance to see them, talking about Russ and Fields, operate or us establish a rhythm and personality when we're not winning possession downs, and we weren't. And another thing, guys, is it really that obvious that Justin Fields is clearly better than Russell Wilson? I mean, through the first 2 preseason games when Justin Fields has been the quarterback, the Steelers offense has scored a grand total of 3 points, all right? And he's played significantly more than Russell Wilson at this point. Now, that's not to say that Justin hasn't done some nice things or that he hasn't looked better than Russell Wilson and he hasn't had more high-end plays than Russ. I think that is the case to this point, but I do think that Russ and all the things that he had to deal with on Saturday just doesn't give us a clear picture as to who should be the starting quarterback, at least not yet. So let me know down there in the comments section, who's going to get named QB1, all right? This is a prediction. This is not who you guys want to be named the first-string quarterback. This is who you guys think will be named the starting quarterback this year. Type RW if you think Russell Wilson, or type JF for Justin Fields. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. And when that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. Now let's shift over to Bill Belichick, 6-time NFL Super Bowl winning head coach, and why he thinks Russell Wilson should start at quarterback. I'm going to let you guys know what Bill had to say because I think he had some very interesting points here. But before we do that, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Turtle Beach Headsets. You guys might have noticed that I am wearing a brand new headset today, and today I'm actually wearing one of the headsets from our new sponsor here on Steelers Talk, Turtle Beach, which is the #1 brand in gaming headsets and accessories. Their new Gen 3 Stealth 600 headset picks up so much crystal clear sound, it's basically cheating. I heard a mosquito in the game the other day and started swatting at my screen because it was that realistic. I thought a bug was in my ear. You'll hear every footstep, every reload, every enemy sneaking up on you like they're stomping through your living room in tap dancing shoes. Their headsets are so freaking comfortable, you'll feel like you're wearing a marshmallow cloud pillow on your head. Sometimes I just sleep in mine because they feel so amazing. But the best thing of all is that Turtle Beach has Stealth 600 models for PlayStation, PC, and Xbox, including cross compatibility and Bluetooth. So one headset for all of your systems. Whether you're a casual gamer or haven't touched grass in weeks, Turtle Beach has the right headset for you. For a limited time only, our listeners get 10% off their entire order when you use code CHAT at turtlebeach.com. That's 10% off your entire order at turtlebeach.com with promo code CHAT. Guys, I'm somebody that loves football video games, whether that's Madden, whether that's the new college football 25 game. I've been playing a bunch online with my friends here at Chat Sports, and I've been using this headset every single night. It's super comfortable. You never even know that you're wearing it. And like I said earlier, guys, if you're playing something like Call of Duty or something like that, you can hear every single footstep. It's super clear, and it's awesome for talking with your friends online. So you can get the ultimate immersive gaming experience with Turtle Beach today. For a limited time only, head to turtlebeach.com and use code CHAT for $10 off your entire order. That's 10% off your order at turtlebeach.com with promo code CHAT. All right, now we get to Bill Belichick here and what he had to say about Russell Wilson, why he thinks that he should be the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers here in 2024. This is what Bill had to say on the Pat McAfee show earlier today. I think the #1 thing on Coach Tomlin's mind is to take care of the football. Don't turn the ball over, and that's something that Russell is very good at. I think there are concerns about that with Fields, but I think they have bigger problems than the quarterback position. Russell's good out of the pocket. He'll be able to hit those play action passes. I thought the throw he made to Pickens was what Russell Wilson is. He's one of the best downfield throwers in the league. He'll hit those in the regular season games. And I do agree with Bill Belichick here. I mean, obviously, if you are going to disagree with Bill Belichick, you better have a pretty freaking good reason because he is the greatest head coach in the history of the National Football League. And I do think that, the points that he makes are sound, especially because I think the name of the game for the Pittsburgh Steelers offensively this year, just like it was last year, is game management. You need a quarterback to, manage the game, not turn the ball over, and allow the defense and the run game to be the reasons why you win football games. And if you look at Russell Wilson versus Justin Fields in interception percentage just last season, Justin Fields was 26th among NFL quarterbacks last year with an interception percentage of 2.4, and Russell Wilson was 13th, which is a pretty darn good number at 1.8. And Russell Wilson throughout his career has been somebody that has protected the football through the air. His career interception percentage is 1.9, which is the 8th lowest all time in NFL history. So this is somebody that supremely you can definitely take care of the football. He did that in Seattle when the Seattle Seahawks were in their Legion of Boom years. And during those years, Russell Wilson was the game manager that was able to protect the football, take the deep shots when they were there, and then come up clutch when the team needed him. That's exactly what the Steelers are asking him to do. And I 100% think he can still do these things. He can still take care of the football. That was proven by that interception percentage last year and throughout his career for that matter. He can also score in the red zone. He was one of the most efficient red zone quarterbacks in the National Football League with the Denver Broncos last year. Also, he can still throw that deep ball, man. He had a touchdown last year that traveled 65 yards in the air, and he had some very impressive throws in camp in Latrobe in terms of the arm strength, and then win games late. He's still one of the most clutch quarterbacks in the National Football League. He led the league last year in fourth quarter comebacks, guys, so this is still one of the most clutch QBs in the league. I still think he can 100% be the quarterback that the Pittsburgh Steelers need to be a success this year. And I think if you're jumping ship and going to Justin Fields, I do think maybe you're jumping the gun just a little bit. But to be clear here, I'm perfectly okay going to Justin Fields as your starting quarterback if Russell Wilson just isn't working out. Give Russ a shot to prove that he can be that veteran leader to try and get this team to a playoff win for the first time in a long time. And if he isn't winning football games, if he's not playing well, if it looks a lot like Saturday night in the regular season, then 100% I'm cool with going with Justin Fields. But let's have a little bit of patience here. Let's give Russ his fair shot here. And it certainly seems like Mike Tomlin is leaning that way to me at this point. So let me know down there in the comments section, how much of the blame does Russell Wilson get for Saturday night's performance with the first team offense? Put it on a scale of 0, meaning not his fault whatsoever, to 100, meaning it is 100% on him. All the pressure was on him. The drops were on him. Everything was on Russell Wilson. For me, guys, I'm going to put it at about 15%. I mean, he had a lot of pressure. He had drops. He had a lot of things not go his way, third and long situations. I think given the circumstances, Russ actually played pretty decently. But let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. Bill Belichick not only talked about Russell Wilson, he also talked about some other things plaguing the Pittsburgh Steelers, talking about the offensive line here. He says, I think that the defense, the Steelers defense, is pretty solid unit. The offensive line has had a hard time being consistent. They lost Troy Fautano. Now they got Broderick Jones over there at right tackle and Dan Moore Jr. playing left tackle. They have a rookie center in Zach Frazier, who's got a ways to go. So once again, man, I agree with Bill Belichick here, and this is definitely going to be a big X factor, if not the X factor for the Pittsburgh Steelers offensively this year. Because if this offensive line can't protect the quarterback and can't create running lanes for the running backs, I mean, this team is just not talented enough at the quarterback position, wide receiver position, running back position even, to overcome a bad offensive line. Very few offenses can overcome a bad offensive line. So this is a huge foundational piece to the Pittsburgh Steelers 2024 season. And based on the first 2 weeks, it has not been good. Mishandled snaps. You're giving up quick pressure no matter who's at quarterback. It's just not a good look right now for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they need to figure it out. And specifically, Broderick Jones needs to figure it out. All right. Right now, he's dealing with an elbow injury. He's got a big elbow brace on there. You know what, Broderick? If you can't get the job done on game days, don't play. Sit him. And if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers and he's looking this bad with that elbow injury, I don't care if he wants to play. Sit his ass down until he's ready to go, because right now it's an embarrassment, and I can't imagine that his elbow is getting any better looking this bad on an NFL football field. And right now, his issues are more than just, oh, he's playing right tackle, he's not comfortable there, okay? It goes beyond that. It goes to hand placement. It comes from his punch. I mean, you want your offensive tackles in the National Football League to be able to make different moves with different arms. But Broderick Jones is leaning forward with both arms to punch his opponent, and these edge rushers like Gregory Rousseau are just too good to do that consistently against. You're going to lose a lot if you're a two-hand puncher. That was his issue back at Georgia as a pass protector, and that's still his issue now with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And his footwork is completely off balance as well. This was a little bit of an issue for him at Georgia on the left side too. So I don't think that these things go away by just putting him at left tackle. All right. He is still showing a lot of the same bugaboos that he showed as a Georgia Bulldog when he was playing on the left side. And what this really comes down to, guys, is it comes down to a lack of development by the Pittsburgh Steelers. And if Broderick is not developed to the point where he deserves to be out on the field, I think, you have to absolutely sit him down. But make no mistake, guys, you have to play him at left tackle from now on. You can't keep playing him at right tackle and then putting him at left tackle and just switching everything. He's a developmental player. Okay, so what's important for Broderick Jones is that he finds a home, whether it's be on the right side or the left side, it doesn't really matter, but put him somewhere and then let him develop on that side, okay? And now if he's like a Troy Fautano where he's a little bit more polished, maybe he could try playing both a little bit, but that's not the type of player Broderick Jones is. And right now, Pat Meyer and Mike Tomlin are just taking this guy's talent for granted by handling him this way, and it's an absolute joke. And at this rate, guys, Broderick Jones might have to sit, and Troy Fautano might have to be your starting right tackle for week 1 with Dan Moore Jr. playing left tackle. That is, if Broderick can't get this elbow situation figured out and start playing better and soon. And because Dan Moore Jr. looks like he's going to be playing early on this season, a trade away for him, and getting some draft capital for him like they did with Kevin Dotson last year becomes less and less likely by the day. I actually think Dan Moore has looked pretty darn good in these preseason games. Everything considered, he's looked a lot better than both Fautano and Broderick Jones to this point, which is not what you want to see because you drafted those two guys to replace this guy. But credit to Dan Moore Jr., he's actually looked pretty darn good in camp and in the preseason, and I think he will start week 1 at left tackle. So let me know down there in the comments section if Fautano is ready week 1, if he's back from his injury. What should the starting offensive line duo be, or offensive tackle duo? Should it be Fautano and Jones? Should it be Moore and Fautano? Should it be Jones and Fautano? Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. For me personally, if Jones keeps playing this way, I think it's got to be Dan Moore Jr. at left tackle and Troy Fautano on the right. So now let's get into what Belichick had to say about Arthur Smith, and this offense specifically had some very nice things to say about Arthur Smith as an offensive play caller and coach. This is what Bill Belichick had to say. I think Arthur Smith is a great fit for that offense, for what Coach Tomlin wants. They need to get the run game going. They have good backs. They need to get those backs started. I think the biggest thing for Pittsburgh is the running game and the offensive line playing consistently. I think Arthur did a good job last year in Atlanta with some quarterback situation there. They didn't have a lot of explosive players on offense. Arthur kept them in a lot of games. He just didn't have the quarterback play to have a better record, in my opinion. I think that Arthur is a good fit in Pittsburgh. He's a really good coach. I think he'll get a lot out of this team. It may take a little while, and the sooner the offensive line comes together and to create some consistent run lanes for the backs, that's their formula to win. And yet again, I have to agree with the GOAT himself, Bill Belichick here. Who knew? Bill Belichick knows ball here, Coop. But you look at the winning formula for the Pittsburgh Steelers here, guys. It's been the same for a while now here in the Steel City. You dominate on defense. That's why they're paying so much money to all these defensive players. Number 1 highest spending defense in football. You control the ball by running the ball with Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren, killing clock, taking the ball out of the offense of the opposing team, wearing down defenses with that bruising run game, just like Derrick Henry did with Arthur Smith in Tennessee. Russell Wilson protects the football and hits the deep balls off of play action when they're there. And then, of course, Russell Wilson in this offense delivers in the clutch like this team has done time and time again over the last several seasons under Mike Tomlin. I think that this is definitely the best that the Steelers have been set up to play that winning formula. But the big question is, does that formula still translate to championships in the modern day NFL? Because it's not a lot of drop back passing, right? It's very old school. Pay players on defense, dominate in the run game. That's a very old school approach to the game. So let me know down there in the comments section, is that still a viable strategy for an NFL team to go down? Yes or no? Is the Pittsburgh's old school approach still capable of winning titles in the National Football League? So before we go here, we do have a little bit of an injury update on Jaylen Warren. He left Saturday's game with a hamstring injury, and hamstring injuries can be quite fickle here, guys, and he is questionable to play week 1. He'll be out the rest of the preseason, obviously, but we did get some good news from Zachary Smith, who is a Steelers reporter. He says it's a grade 1 hamstring strain for Jaylen Warren, and the team is very optimistic about him being ready for week 1. That's great news. Name to watch with Nate Herbig going down is Scott Quesenberry as well. So big shout out to Smitty there with the scoop on the Jaylen Warren injury. It sounds like he's going to be back soon. It's a minor hamstring injury. So let me know down there in the comment section. Show some love to Jaylen Warren by spamming his number 30 as many times as you want down there in the comment section to wish Jaylen Warren a full and speedy recovery, hopefully by the start of the season. That'll be it for today's show, guys. I know it was a little bit of a longer one today. I appreciate all of your guys' support and all the real ones that have made it to the end of today's show. If you made it to the end today and you're not subscribed, I would consider clicking that subscribe button because we got videos like this every single day breaking down the latest surrounding the black and gold, not to mention a watch party and 2 live shows every single week. So listen, man, I really do appreciate all of your guys' support. I will see you guys tomorrow. Until next time, here we go, Steelers.